G'day and welcome to the Midweek Wrap. I'm on my own today, but fear not, soon we're going to be joined by Tim and Greta Clark, and we're just going to have a bit of a chat about family time in isolation life and how we can make the most of that with our kids, for those of us who have kids, but generally for our own spiritual growth and for our family's spiritual growth. But first, a couple of announcements. On Friday, we're going to have our two Easter services, Friday 10 a.m. for Good Friday, Sunday 10 a.m. as well. So the same time, same channel. But Friday, we're going to be celebrating the Lord's Supper. And as we mentioned on Sunday, obviously it's going to be a bit different. A virtual Lord's Supper. It's a first for me. I'm sure it's probably a first for you. But we're going to give it a crack. Because the Lord's Supper is such a precious gift for us to reflect and remember Jesus' sacrifice and the depth of its meaning. We're going to be doing that together. So just a heads up to get yourself organized with some juice and bread for that. Secondly, we're going to try something a bit different on Sunday. After church, we're going to have a simulated courtyard morning tea experience where we invite you via a link in the YouTube description of the video to a Google Zoom meeting. And what will happen is you can come to this meeting and we'll break up into different groups within the meeting. That'll all be done for you as you arrive. And you can have a chat, catch up with some people other than your growth group. So we're not doing it via growth groups. We're just doing it as a somewhat random allocation of people just to say good day, catch up. You might have a bit of a chat about the sermon and the service and just share some encouragement over that. And there'll be someone in each of these subgroups to kind of guide the conversation a little bit. But hopefully it'll be an encouraging time to share with someone different and reflect together, catch up, and just like we would on a normal Sunday. So hopefully that's a blessing to us. Now over to Tim and Greta, and I had a chat with them earlier today. G'day, Tim and Greta. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hi Ben, hi Valley. Good to see you all.
How are things going up in Wallen?
First of all, it's Heathcote Junction, not
Sorry.
Wallen. The other side of the train tracks, buddy. Other side of the train tracks. Things are good.
Yeah.
Nice sunny day here, which is nice.
And how's isolation life going for you guys?
Well, we'd have to say there are ups and downs, but and there are funny moments. But we're getting by, and we know that we're doing okay, and that there are people in more difficult positions than us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're doing all right, and we're all still alive, so I consider that a hoot. I think we're winning.
Yeah, that's great.
If you're going to talk about, I think the hardest part for, particularly for the kids, is just not being able to do something outside the house, not being able to get out. They've got lots of games, they've got lots of toys here, they've got lots of things to do, but just the idea of going somewhere, they just want to go somewhere and do something different. And I think that's been the hard part for them, and the hard part for us as we sort of try to keep morale and keep everything positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the not knowing too.
Yeah, the uncertainty. Yeah. So obviously having more time with the family, and there's pros and cons to that, and the kids are feeling it. Tell us a bit, how have you been, I guess, seeing opportunities in that time you have together, and particularly as you share your faith with kids? Tell us a bit about that.
I think that's been probably the silver lining to this situation as far as we're concerned. I'm sure, like many other families, we often have good intentions to do morning devotions. We're going to start them. We get the book off the shelf and we're going to start doing it. And just for some reason, you don't keep the discipline. And it goes and you just stop doing it, unfortunately. Where we haven't had that excuse. We haven't had any excuses over the last 2 weeks, which has been fantastic.
So yeah, I guess if we haven't done it after breakfast, we might say, oh, you can do it after lunch, or you can do it at dinner time instead. And there's definitely less of a sense of being pressured by time, and you can work the day out as it goes, but as long as you try and fit it in and make it a priority.
And look, I think so. The one we've been doing it. My godly parents are constantly ensuring that we are training up our children in the way they should go. So they're always giving us their old devotional books. So we're doing this one from IVP at the moment, which is really good. It's very structured. I know not a lot of people like structure in a devotion, but I do. There's a bit of an intro with a Bible reading, and then there's some questions and an activity after it. But the thing that we're finding now that we've got the time is yes, this is great, but it's the discussion around everything that we're doing. So when we do the Bible reading, Annabelle's, our daughter, is old enough now to be reading from her proper Bible, the Adventure Bible. And so she reads the Bible reading before we start, which involves, of course, going to the contents page, discussing, is it in the Old Testament or the New Testament? We read a psalm yesterday, and so, there was that discussion, well, what is a psalm? It's a song, and who wrote the psalms? So it's all the discussions that you've got time for that go with it. And it always...
incidental conversations that you have along the way, yeah.
That's exactly right. And, there's always an opportunity to sing the song that Ben and Sharon taught us about all the books in the Bible. And it is that, I think that, as you say, just those questions and things that pop up as a result of it, which is we've been grateful for. And I think we're also seeing more opportunity for application and seeing God at work through the time in the Word because we've got that extra time.
That's great. Yeah.
I suppose, the other thing we do is we've tried to set a habit of doing nighttime Bible and prayer time with the kids. I don't know if you want to...
Yeah, so as part of the saying goodnight to Annabelle and Jacob process, either Tim or I will take one to their bedroom, and before they put their head on the pillow, we'll pray. We'll read the Bible first. So we're in different rooms doing this with each kid, and we alternate. So I might have Jacob one night, and then I have Annabelle the next night. And so we're both helping them go through the Bible and praying with them. We pray at the end of reading the Bible, and there are some questions in the Bible too, which help them to show that they've listened and, see if they've understood.
We actually find that we change. We actually find that they outgrow their kids' Bibles about every year. And so we're constantly looking for the next stage in their maturity, in their development.
And there's kind of that thing where their development gets to a point where they want something more, but then they start reading and they have to go backwards to...
That's exactly right.
Read, and then,
That's exactly right. Currently, we've got, for Jacob, these Bibles are fantastic. These are the ones we've been reading with them. They come with questions as well as the Bible reading. But again, we find it's the discussions and questions that just pop up. As a result of reading the passage that are the best.
But I'd have to say, because it's so close to bedtime, sometimes, logistically you want them to go to sleep, it's past bedtime. You might cut that discussion time down. You might say, I'll tell you, let's have a proper chat in the morning or something. But if you're doing a devotion during the day, there's more space to actually answer those questions in depth.
And this is what we've been finding at our home as well, is usually we have our we pray around the dinner table for each other and listen and share, and then pray for each other, and then have, again, one of us takes the boys, the other one takes Evie, and we'll do a Bible reading and pray with them. But it's in that the pressure's on because you're trying to get to bed, and they just want to. The boys are usually climbing on the bunks and want to jump around and just sit down and quiet, and But we've found this extra freedom of doing it in the morning, or like you say, you can have several bites at the cherry, and if you don't get through it after breakfast, you can come back at lunch. And obviously, not all of us, for our dear listeners, people are in different situations, and we don't have the same freedom, but most of us have got a bit more freedom, and our routine looks a bit different. So great opportunities to be taking advantage of. Hey, Tim.
Sorry, I was going to say one more thing. The other thing that we've been doing is, I've been trying to make more of an effort to do is to play, I suppose, more church music just in the background, just so that it's on frequently. I try to do that normally, but just we're no longer running around to, gym and whatever. So it can be on, and I like having it on. It's no, I mean, they're learning the songs, they're becoming familiar with the songs, so when they sing them at church on Sunday, but also it often encourages questions and again discussions that just what's the line in that song, Dad, and why is that? So I'm finding that this time is more creating those opportunities that you have the time to jump on.
Yeah. And I think, again, with as we think about that, for our parents watching, I think there's sometimes questions are exciting because, it's finally an opportunity to talk about these things, which I want my kids to understand. Other times questions can be intimidating, and kids can ask really insightful questions that make us go, hang on a minute, what? I don't even know if I know the answer to that, you know? And so I just want to say to our parents listening in, if your kid has questions, we'd love to make that part of the conversation, whether it's on more things we do with kids here on Valley Live or on a Sunday morning or Kids Spots, things like that, because we want our kids to ask questions and we want to grow. And sometimes it's actually an opportunity for us to think more and to grow as well. So don't run away from questions and don't feel like you have to have all the answers, because sometimes when our kids see us acknowledge, actually, that's a hard question, they actually feel legitimized in asking the question themselves.
That's right.
And we can actually grow together. Thanks, Tim and Greta, for chatting. And we'll look forward to seeing your face another time soon. Take care, guys.
Pleasure, Ben. See you, Valley.
Thanks for joining us for the Midweek Wrap. We'll see you on Friday at 10 a.m. for the Lord's Supper, among other things. And then on Sunday with our Zoom courtyard catch-up afterwards. See you then.